that goes. So what is information visualization? You heard this many times. A picture is worth 1,000 words. I'll get back to this in a second. If you look in the dictionary, it's to form a mental image, to kind of understand something in a visual format, to imagine or remember. Remember is also important. We sometimes remember things in visual format better than we can do in other formats. And there's Jacques Bertin, who was a French statistician, but he used visualization a lot in his work, and he's considered kind of a little bit of a parent of the field you've probably never heard of. Nothing, but he had, there was a visualization conference that took place in Paris one year, and they had a whole kind of museum set up for him. He used it a lot in statistical work. So he said that, it's augmenting our natural intelligence, finding artificial memory to support our natural means of perception. So kind of two things, using it almost like an external hard drive, if you want, or almost that's the artificial part. Now, going back to a picture is worth 1,000 words, and going back to being skeptical about visualization, I've read a paper once that started like this. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, why haven't I seen this concept depicted? The concept of a picture is worth 1,000 words. If you say it, it's easy to say it. It's a bunch of abstract things that put together, we understand them. But if you try and come up with an image for this, it's not going to be that easy. So sometimes very abstract things are not necessarily best described by visualization or best understood through visualization. So keep that in mind. So in a way, I think if I were to kind of put it, two things that a visualization can do really good. One is allow us to build these cognitive maps, kind of mentioned in that dictionary. For example, look at this. This is a map of London subway, I think, or underground. That's the proper term. But if I were to try and schedule a trip from kind of this area here to this area here, many times I can look at the map and I can realize I can take the red train or black train and kind of connect at this station, or I can take a red train and connect with a green train here. So just remembering the picture and remembering where I need to do it, it makes it easier. I form kind of a visual image in my, it's not necessarily I remember exactly all the station, but I kind of remember what I need to know from it. So it's a way for me to remember stuff later on, form this cognitive collage, cognitive image. But the other thing is it helps us become smarter in many ways, like external memory. So it can increase our memory capacity, and that was maybe the case a little bit in the tic-tac-toe game, because I didn't have to remember what you picked. I would mark it down and put an X and an O, and then I have to remember what card you picked. So it kind of helps us that way. Here's another example where it helps us with external memory. Think about multiplying 137 times 25. Can you do that? Probably most of us can do it in your head only, but you kind of have to remember the intermediary results. Because you multiply one digit with, you take the 5 and multiply with everything, then take the 3 and multiply, or 2. I don't even remember what I said. But hopefully you get the point that if you have to remember those intermediary results, it's harder for us to do it. It takes more time than doing it on paper, where you can just dump the intermediary result and use it later. So the paper becomes our external hard drive, really. Our flash drive, you dump information there and use it. So that kind of, that's the idea of the external hard drive. So you can do it. You're probably going to do it slower. And if you do 100 of the, or 10 multiplications, you will probably make more mistakes doing it in your head than on the paper. So that's why, it kind of expands our cognitive abilities. And sometimes, like in the case of the visual logic gates, we could use our vision, not our kind of cognitive mind, to process information for us. Our vision was telling us whatever it detected, was it coming out of the screen or going into the screen? We didn't have, you're not checking it, you're not kind of following it like you're reading a newspaper, you're reading each word and see what they mean. It's just our visual system does it for us. So it's kind of using that part of the brain, if you want, a little bit unconscious to us. We don't control it that well, but it's there. So we could use it to make us smarter. So again, an external hard drive and a little bit of an external processing unit right there. So sometimes that's how visualization works. So it's kind of, these are two main ways. So visualization is good as long as it helps us think about the data, about problems. Some people say it provides insight, so things you didn't know before. And sometimes we discover new things that we didn't know about. It's not necessarily new for us, maybe. In the data, it can help with decision making. You're trying to figure out what stocks you're going to buy or what car you're going to buy. You kind of go through visualization a little bit and figure out, first of all, if you like the car. Second, if numbers are good, if you can afford the payment and so forth. It can help with learning and memorizing. Like most textbooks do use visualizations. You open them up, there's lots of pictures. Some people are visual learners. Not everyone is, but some people are, and most people understand the concept. And it can help us really transmit information from me to another person. I know something, I put in a visual format, and hopefully it transfers better and more accurately to all of you who are sitting here. And also note that visualization is independent of computers. Some of the examples that I have happened way before computers even existed. You can have them on paper. Now, computers, what they do, they make us able to process lots of data accurately. So I can have 100,000 data points in a visualization. It's kind of harder to do that by hand. You need a lot of free time to do it. And it's interactive. So that's another thing with visualizations on computers. I can go and change them on the fly. I can change something. I can zoom in, zoom out, scroll, combine elements, change how it looks all together.